Well, when we speak about the arc in basketball shooting, one of the things that we need to understand is number one, how large is the basketball? And number two is how large is the rim? The men's basketball is 9.5 inches in diameter. Ladies' ball is 9 inches in diameter. The basket on the inside measurement is 18 inches in diameter, so that we know that two of the ladies' balls will go through the basket at the same time. One of the things we want to do when we're speaking about arc is we want to make sure that the ball is going to reach an apex on its arc, or the trajectory toward the basket, of about 3 to 4 feet above the level of the rim. As we talk about the arc, let's talk about an analogy, and that analogy might be this: that if the ball had eyes and it is approaching the basket, if we have a very flat arc, what's going to happen is that the basket takes on an oval shape. That flat arc is typically around 30 degrees, and the usable size of that basket is only about 9 to 9.5 inches in diameter. And so the usable target is very small. As the basketball trajectory begins to elevate, and we get up to that point where the ball is maybe 3 or 4 feet above the level of the basket, we find that this gets more like a 45-degree angle of attack, and that basket now has a usable target area of about 13 inches. And so it's quite a bit larger. The flatter the arc, the more oval shape that the basket becomes. We can make those shots, there's no question about that, but the thing that we want to do is to be able to shoot the basketball at the largest target possible so that our percentage of makes goes really high. And the recommended angle of attack on the arc is somewhere between 45 and 55 degrees. The thing that really is difficult, though, as shooters and players, you don't have time to assess exactly what the angle is, so you kind of have to learn what that angle is. And I would say that one of the things you want to do is try to take and make sure that the very highest part of that arc or trajectory is about 4 feet above the top of the basket. Well, Stratocaster's question about how do we get a higher arc. Well, the shooting arm, as we are releasing the basketball, must elevate from the set point. We want to make sure that the elbow is always elevating to a point where it is above the eyes when we're ready for that release. And this will allow us to get upwards on that arc so that we're closer to the 45 to 50 degree angle. The power for that shot has to come from our core muscles and our leg muscles in order to get that kind of an arc. One of the reasons that shooters shoot flat shots typically is because they are underpowered and they haven't put the power source together to propel the ball at the basket. When we shoot flat shots, what happens is that the rebound that may result from a miss is always a long, flat rebound. One that either goes back to the shooter or it might rebound in the opposite direction. When you shoot a ball with a nice arc, the basketball, when it hits the iron, tends to bound upward and it stays around the basket. When it stays around the basket, you still have an opportunity for that ball to go in the basket. Very key point. Here's the rundown for arc. Number one, you want to make sure that you have a high angle of attack. Number two, we want to avoid flat arcs that just slide over the front rim. Thirdly, we want to make sure that we elevate the elbow. That's how we get that nice high arc. And finally, Let's make sure that we use good legs, which results from the use of our core muscle. Hi, this is Tom Curtis again from Shot Science, and today we want to take and share some ideas with you about how you can improve your shooting. The form shooting drill is key to improving our shooting mechanics. As we get more consistent and we develop that muscle memory, emphasizing all of the shooting elements, then our shot is going to become much more accurate. In the form shooting, what we want to do is emphasize the shot elements or mechanics. We want to make sure that we are really mindful of our release, of our arc, and all of those elements. The shots should all be from 6 to 10 feet from the basket. We want to stay close because as we move away from the basket, it requires more strength, and that usually will take and screw up our shot mechanics. How we do this is we want to take and locate 5 spots around the key, the block, the first peg, the middle of the court at 10 feet, the first peg on the opposite side, and the block on the opposite side. When we shoot from the block, we like to have our shooters use only one hand, the shooting hand. And the reason that we do this is it really helps to have them have ball control as they're ready for the shot. So the assist hand is not involved in that. Here's the thing that's real important too. We want to take and try and get between 300 and 500 shots during the course of 1 week. You don't want to do it all in one day. I would spread it out over maybe 3 shooting days. And what we want to do is make 10 shots at each one of those locations. So if we take and start on one side and go around to the other and then return to our starting spot, that is 9 locations. And so when we finish that, we will have made 90 shots. We recommend 3 approaches to this form shooting drill. The first one is just regular shooting, as we've described already. The second is one that we call no iron. And on this particular one, we do not want to have any contact with the rim. We're emphasizing arc and touch. And on number 3, which we call no eyes, what you want to do is prep for the shot. As soon as you have it lined up, close your eyes and shoot the shot. What we're trying to do with this shot is to take and test our